Okay, so I was just walking down the trail and came within maybe 2 feet of a timber rattlesnake. Oh my gosh, look at that rattle. His tongue is spitting out. What an amazing creature. I'm Matt Podolsky. In 2022, I hiked all 2,200 miles of the Appalachian Trail. Guess what I just saw?
What?
Timber rattlesnake.
Oh, I'm so glad I missed it.
That's my mom, Candy. The two of us attempted this Appalachian Trail through hike together. Its head was like in the middle of the trail, but it was just frozen there, and then I backed away, and then like a couple minutes later it like slowly went across and then went off, and now it's like probably way far away, but
that's pretty cool.
Getting on the Appalachian Trail can feel like stepping back into a wilder time, where the dangers and beauty of nature are heightened. There are snakes, bears, and ticks, scary sounds in the night, cliffs, river crossings, and storms. The Appalachian Trail can be a scary place, but that's actually part of what draws people in.
I definitely want to see the picture. Oh, he's a good size.
Yeah, it was like a pretty good sized snake.
Whoa. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't see him. That might be 6 feet. Oh my God.
But the danger goes both ways. Despite our fears, humans actually pose a much bigger threat to these ecosystems than they do to us. So while encountering a rattlesnake along the trail may be scary, we should be afraid of the impact that we are having on other animals, plants, and ecosystems. This is Common Land, and in this episode, we face our fears and contemplate change.
I have never been bitten by a venomous snake, and I've had over 10,000 handling events. I've had a couple close calls.
That's Dr. Chris Jenkins, a snake expert, researcher, and the founder of the reptile conservation organization, the Oriane Society.
I was in a wilderness area up in the Appalachian Mountains, pretty close to the Appalachian Trail, actually. And I was actually doing field research on timber rattlesnakes, and I was wearing these gaiters, these snake-proof gaiters, and but I ended up stepping on a timber rattlesnake that turned, and it did strike me in the shin. You could see the venom, the paired venom marks on the gaiters on my shin, and a drop of venom from each rolling down. But the gaiters obviously worked.
Most people probably associate rattlesnakes with the desert, but rattlesnakes live in the forests and mountains of the East Coast as well. Timber rattlesnakes have a historic range that runs from Canada to Texas.
It's one of the probably 2 species that you're most likely to see. Like if you're going to do a through hike of the Appalachian Trail, you're going to see multiple timber rattlesnakes.
But in many places, their populations are in steep decline.
In some places, their status is pretty dire. By far, the most significant factor for timber rattlesnakes is persecution, and humans going out and directly killing them is a huge part of that.
But along the Appalachian Trail corridor, timber rattlesnakes have some protection from persecution.
So there's certain places where their populations are really low, and there's certain kind of strongholds, parts of, say, the mountain regions of Pennsylvania, for example. Western North Carolina is a pretty good stronghold.
Fear is one of the things that leads people to kill snakes. But rattlesnake bites on the Appalachian Trail are extremely rare. And for me and my mom, our biggest fear was injury. And that's for good reason. In the 2 years prior to our AT thru-hike attempt, my mom had undergone 2 knee surgeries.
Right now I'm feeling fine except for my feet. My feet aren't happy with me.
Yeah.
No, but otherwise I feel great.
What would you have thought like 2 months ago if I had said we're going to do a 20-mile day before we even hit Virginia?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Although I wasn't sure I was going to make it out of Georgia, so there's that.
Right. But there's another fear that can creep up on hikers. The fear of not completing the hike. A through hike may seem like a leisurely walk in the woods, but there is actually a clock ticking the whole time. Take too long, and winter can force you off the trail before you've finished. You have to push yourself, maintaining a pace that is fast enough to finish on time, but slow enough that you aren't hobbled by injuries. Because of this, most through hikers are constantly discussing their daily mileage. To complete the hike in 6 months, you have to average about 12 miles a day. But there are sections that are super challenging, and you have to account for days off. So sometimes, when the trail lets you, you have to push a lot further than 12 miles. Okay, trying to do 20 miles today. We have done, let's see how many we've done so far. Oh, we've done 13.16 miles already. It's pretty good.
We'll see. No guarantees.
When obstacles prevented us from hiking very far, this was deeply frustrating. But hitting our goals or pushing past them was accompanied by a strong sense of accomplishment. It's pretty amazing. We've gone from like 8 miles a day to 20 miles a day in what, a month and a half?
Yep. It is amazing.
Well, this might be the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I guess let's look.
Check the mile marker.
Okay. He says just short of 20. Let's see. Yeah, he's right. Look at that. 19.
Oh, that's close enough. That's close enough.
All right, you want to stay here?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's legit. You can call it 20.
Yeah.
If it's 19.9.
Yeah. Close enough.
Yeah. The next day, my mom and I crossed the border into Virginia and got to the small town of Damascus. This is a famous stop for thru hikers. Damascus hosts a big party for thru hikers called Trail Days, and almost everybody who's hiking the trail stops for a while. It had been 4 days since our last stop in a town, and we were stinky. But food was always our first stop. We ate enormous cheeseburgers at the local diner before getting a room at a bed and breakfast. In the end, we decided not to stay in Damascus for the festival. We were anxious. We wanted to keep moving. While on the Appalachian Trail, you are never not thinking about mileage.
There's a lot of musicians out here. Like, did y'all go to Trail Days?
Or that's what we thought. A hiker named Coltrane, however, had a different approach towards the hike.
I'm moving real slow, but it's because I stop like every day and play my guitar for a couple hours. It's been great, yeah.
My mom and I were eating lunch at a campsite along the Appalachian Trail a week or two after leaving Damascus, when Coltrane came walking down the trail. The first thing I noticed was the large box strapped to the outside of his pack. He sat down next to us at the picnic table and immediately began unpacking this cardboard box, revealing a guitar. There were 4 or 5 other hikers sitting around eating lunch as Coltrane started playing a few bars of music.
I like finger picking stuff, so eventually I'd like to like have something more complex than just the chords behind it. I think it'll be cool. Thank you. I don't know if I'm gonna make it all the way, but we'll see. One step at a time.
Hike your own hike. It's one of the most common expressions heard amongst thru hikers on the trail. Everyone finds their own pace and hikes for their own unique reasons. While my mom and I were focused on finishing the trail within a set time period, Coltrane was more of a wanderer.
I will take zeros like in the woods, like on a mountain. I like bring like a day's extra food, so if I get somewhere that I really like, I'll just hang out, kind of explore that area.
A 0 day is thru hiker slang for a day off. a day where you hike 0 miles. My mom and I would typically save our 0 days for when we were in a town. Coltrane, he liked to take them out in the woods.
So I was like, maybe I'll write a song about that. Still a work in progress, but I'll give it another go. Take a 0 mountain. Take the time you need to let your spirit free. Take a 0 mountain town. Be present in the moment and learn to let it be. And you will find key to the door you seek. And oh, live in peace. I mean, there's so much material. That's what I was thinking, like, as I was trying to write that song, I was like, you know, pretty much every day I could, like, pick a highlight out of it and probably write a song about that. I started February 24th. Yeah, I've been out here for a while, and I don't know where all the time has gone. Like, I know, each day has been really great. Thank you.
Of course, the AT can also be a place of refuge, a place of safety from the fears and stresses of life off the trail.
Doing the AT to get rid of the stress. I had a heart attack in October, had a stent put in.
I met all sorts of people who, rather than fretting over snakes and mileage, were basking in the relative freedom and quiet of a long walk in the woods. And everybody had their own motivation for doing it.
Got tired of playing in traffic. I was paving roads, tired of smelling exhaust fumes.
Just the YouTube algorithm brought me to backpacking and thru hiking.
Some hikers had been planning their thru hikes for decades, while others began their thru hike on a whim.
I realized that I'm at the perfect time in my life. I work in retail. I still live at home with my parents, and there's nothing tying me down. Just let's go out hiking.
5 years ago, I was on a business trip to Washington, D.C., and I ended up in Harper's Ferry. And while I was there, I found the Appalachian Trail sign, and it fascinated me because it said Georgia was 1,000 miles in one direction, Maine was 1,200 miles in another, and the furthest you can hike in the UK is about 800 miles from Land's End to John O'Groats. So a trail that long really sort of caught my attention.
I like being alone. I've always been a loner. I have no wife, I have no kids, so I have nobody to care about or worry about, while I'm out here. But like I said, when you go up to the shelter and you see 15 strangers, you get to know them, you get to meet them, and then down the road it's like, hey man, are you all right? I mean, then you start feeling concerned about, how, you see somebody limping, well, what happened? I mean, you kind of become a family.
We'll be back with more about the Appalachian Trail after a short break. Hey there, adventurers. Are you ready to hit the trail this season? If so, check out Big Agnes, the mother of comfort. Whether you're backpacking, car camping, or sleeping under the stars in your backyard, Big Agnes gear is built for comfort without compromise. Their award-winning sleeping bags, pads, and tents are lightweight, durable, and feel like home, no matter where you roam. Say goodbye to cold, stiff nights, and hello to plush, cozy sleep in the wild or your backyard. Find Big Agnes at an outdoor retailer near you or at bigagnes.com and feel the difference. Big Agnes, comfort built for the backcountry. We're back. I'm Matt Podolsky, and this is Common Land, a show about the Appalachian Trail. It's mostly dead.
It's mostly dead, but it's sending out these shoots right over there.
Yeah. My mom and I were on the lookout for the canoe-shaped leaves of the American chestnut tree. But look, there's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
There's a dead one right here. And then on the shoot, there's one back there.
Yeah.
The American chestnut used to be one of the most common trees in eastern forests and across Appalachia. They provided abundant food for both people and other animals and were all pervasive in American culture. Think chestnuts roasting on an open fire. But that all came to an end with the introduction of chestnut blight.
The chestnut blight is a disease that's caused by a fungal pathogen that was introduced right around the turn of the 20th century, sometime around 1904, to the United States.
That's Vasily Lakoba, the director of research for the American Chestnut Foundation, a nonprofit that has been working to breed disease-resistant American chestnut trees for the past 4 decades.
The American chestnut was, as you know, pretty much wiped out.
It's difficult to comprehend the scale of this loss. It had a dramatic impact not just on eastern forests, but on American culture and the country's economy. Many relied on chestnut trees to earn a living in the timber industry, and for many more, chestnuts were a staple of their diet.
So where we are right now at Meadowview Research Farms, it's a collection currently of 3 farms here, not too far from one another. We're sitting at the Price Farm right now, which is the largest property. It's almost 90 acres.
Meadowview is just a short distance from the path of the Appalachian Trail in southern Virginia. I've been fascinated by efforts to bring back the American chestnut since I learned about its plight when I was in college 20 years ago.
So for a long time, for the majority of TACF's existence, the primary effort was in breeding together American chestnut and Chinese chestnut in such a way that you would hopefully retain the blight resistance from the Chinese chestnut, and ideally you could still retain the growth form of the American chestnut, which grows taller and kind of with a single leader.
The loss of American chestnuts had far-reaching impacts on both people and ecosystems. Timber rattlesnakes suffered because their prey lost its most reliable food source. Communities in Appalachia may have suffered the most. In many areas, chestnut trees were dying just at the start of the Great Depression. So there is a lot of weight placed on these efforts to restore the American chestnut. The American Chestnut Foundation has been working towards this goal for the past 40 years.
After a certain period of time, these trees are allowed to establish, and what we do is we challenge them directly with the blight fungus. So we prepare inoculum in our laboratory, and then we come out here and we make specific wounds where we want to see as soon as possible whether there's promise of resistance or more or less resistance among different lines.
Right.
You can stop here. We needed this rain pretty badly. I'm glad we were getting it. What it does is it forms this kind of protrusion called a canker, and we'll see more of those on some more mature trees that are much more obvious.
Yeah.
And so you try to see, is the tree appearing to be fighting off the disease? So if it's swelling and sort of walling off the pathogen, is it just shrinking right in and girdling the limb, which is eventually how it dies?
Right.
Is something else happening? So as you walk down here, you can see there's a variety of different apparent responses to the inoculation. So if you look here, you see how that's all blown out there.
Oh yeah.
Versus here, it looks like it's maybe sinking a little bit and it's forming these sort of orange zones near the inoculation point. Every now and then you get one that's really looks, violently diseased.
It's definitely more chestnut trees than I've ever seen before in my life, by far. It's pretty cool.
You seen any on the trail yet so far?
So I have. I mean, that's actually one of the questions that I have for you is like, we've hiked through several patches of forest where I feel like I'm seeing quite a few. Small ones like shoots, right? And like, but I've been surprised by how many. Yeah,
so they're all over the place, and you're likely to see many more as you continue on the trail. So the root systems of many of those chestnuts that were wiped out by blight, over 100 years ago, are still around, especially on the much larger trees, that had managed to accumulate a lot of biomass below ground. That has persisted. Every now and then they send up a little shoot, maybe take advantage of a little bit of light, a little bit of sunflex coming through the canopy. But then eventually, like you saw, it doesn't grow to be giant, but it grows to be of some substantial girth.
Yeah.
And then the blight gets it and it dies back, and the process continues. And so that effect of having those trees out there, even if they don't reach reproductive height and don't flower and don't set seed, could be very useful to some of these efforts as well, because like I mentioned, we want to maximize how much of the original genetic diversity we capture in all of our various programs, because there's going to be all of these challenges to adapt to, whether it's climate change, urbanization, other diseases. And so being able to vegetatively propagate those little sprouts that you keep seeing is going to be very important.
After visiting with Vasily and learning all about American chestnuts and how some of the 100-year-old root systems have survived, I started to see these small, shrubby chestnut shoots in the forest understory everywhere I looked. But yeah, we've got one right there. That one's dead, but it's got a bunch of little tiny shoots. And there's one...
There's one over there.
There's one over here.
The one over there.
Yeah. And there's another one down here. So we're kind of surrounded. Yeah, look over there. Right behind us too. See?
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah. So this whole area just would have been like a grove of chestnuts.
You could sit under a tree like this, if it was a big one, and you probably wouldn't feel any rain.
It's heartbreaking, but also fascinating to imagine what these areas would have looked like when tree canopies were dominated by behemoth chestnut trees over 100 feet tall. These remnant shrubby chestnut trees serve as a reminder that nothing is permanent. My mom and I were witnessing a snapshot in history while we walked. Only one thing is certain: a lot more change is on the horizon. Look at this. Apparently we're at mile 500. I didn't even realize. I guess that makes
I knew
sense.
we were getting close, but I didn't know how close.
Yeah. My mom and I had entered the Grayson Highlands in Southern Virginia. This area is known for its bald mountaintops and its ponies. Oh, we're not going to share our food with you ponies.
Wouldn't be good for you anyway.
Seems like you just don't care about us one way or the other. My mom and I were camped at a beautiful site with sweeping views of the surrounding peaks. When we set up our tents, we saw a group of ponies way off in the distance. But by the time we started to cook dinner, the ponies had moved in closer. Yeah.
I walked pretty close up, and
they're just like, whatever.
They just kept eating. And the mother, you'd think the mother would be nervous, but she's not at all.
Yeah.
They've obviously had good experiences with humans.
These ponies were introduced here in the 1970s. Many mountaintops in southern Appalachia are bald or treeless. These balds are maintained as treeless areas by livestock grazing. When animals stop grazing, the forests return. So these ponies are here to do a job. They are maintaining the bald peaks of the Grayson Highlands. But they are also a tourist attraction. My mom and I spent hours watching the small herd of ponies that was nearby our tent site. There was a young foal with the herd, and it had boundless energy. So goofy.
So he was there,
Okay.
and I put my foot there. And he, like here to here.
Yeah.
Which is why I jumped away.
Yeah.
I didn't see him right away. I heard him and I knew what it was.
Soon after I saw a timber rattlesnake, my mom had her own close encounter. So he's rattling at you right away.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
It sucked. He's a pretty snake though.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh God. I really don't want to have another encounter with a snake like that.
While I certainly am afraid of losing another species like the American chestnut, there's nothing quite like the raw fear that comes from getting a bit too close to a rattlesnake. It's a healthy fear, a reminder that we do still share these forests with other animals that can harm us. But sometimes that fear can be misplaced. Sometimes the more serious threats are a lot more mundane. Well, it's May 28th. We're still on the trail in Southern Virginia. And we had to take a 0 day yesterday due to either food poisoning or norovirus. Both my mom and I woke up yesterday morning with just horrible stomach cramps, feeling like we were going to vomit. And we were really just starting to feel like we were locked into this thing, you know? And then we just kind of, everything had to come to a grinding halt. And to be honest, you know, yesterday was probably the first day where I was really seriously thinking about wanting to get off trail, you know, and like questioning the whole thing. The first point of the hike where I can just 100% understand why people make it this far and then just bail. Because, yeah, being sick on the trail is horrible. Being sick on the trail when the weather is and it's raining on you and your gear's malfunctioning. Yeah, I can understand how a combination of those things would just force someone to throw in the towel. As horrible as I felt on that rainy day in Virginia, it was nothing compared to what was coming next.
And he fell off the cliff like a sack of potatoes for no good reason.
In our next episode, we'll learn about how the Appalachian Trail was born out of grief and designed as a space for mourning and reflection. Common Land is produced by the Wildlands Collective. This season is produced in partnership with New Hampshire Public Radio. I'm your host, Matt Podolsky. Music is by Blue Dot Sessions. To check out the next episode in the series, search for Common Land in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. To learn more about the show and see a full list of credits, go to commonlandpodcast.com.